Welcome back to East West Sports. The French Open wraps up this weekend and defending champion Li Na won't be there to defend her title. But even though its stalwart star has been ousted from the competition, tennis in China is still going strong. BON's Howard Pan has more in this week's big feature.
On this weekday afternoon, a youth tennis tournament was underway here at the Western Academy of Beijing. Li Na's historic win at the French Open last year has inspired a new generation of avid young tennis players in the country, and the availability of a new training program will certainly give tennis a lift in China. This new training program, called Mini Tennis, was piloted in the US last year and has made its way here to China. This more scientific approach to tennis training may surely make the sport more appealing to kids and their parents.
Mini tennis is a system developed by the LTA, which is the Lawn Tennis Association, which is based in England. And LTA has developed the system for children starting from as early as 5 years old. And basically, it's a progression of equipment that develops with the child. As they get taller, the balls will bounce higher and the rackets will get heavier and heavier. And what it is a change from the traditional way, which I learned tennis in New York, which is we got an adult racket and we sawed off the handle and we made a shorter racket for us. So the LTA mini tennis system it's good because it prevents injury. It prevents a small child from swinging something that's too heavy and swinging at a ball that's too high, so that they develop a natural swing all the way through adulthood.
This new method to train may give kids one more reason to take up the sport. Along with marathon and boxing, tennis is one of the 3 best sports to stay in shape. Besides the physical benefits, tennis may also teach them lessons that can benefit them for life.
That makes them well-rounded, and that makes them able to make better choices and spends their time better. And tennis is definitely one sport that is something that can carry on with them for life. So they could play now for the sake of being competitive and learning, but later on they can play social tennis, and it helps them just belong to a community and do something useful.
However, the future of tennis in China may not be as smooth as Li Na's title run at Roland Garros last year. Compared to badminton and ping pong, tennis is still a relatively new sport in China. It is also one of the more expensive sports to play due to the space and equipment required. There need to be more opportunities for kids to give tennis a shot.
So I know in many Chinese schools here, they don't actually have tennis courts. It's still, the other racket sports like ping pong and badminton are still seen as the main sports, and so it's hard for tennis to compete. So if it could be, we don't even need a tennis court. So if we can get use indoor gymnasiums and start playing with mini tennis, mini rackets, mini nets, and get them used to hitting tennis balls, then that certainly can make it more accessible, and then they can start thinking about using a full-size tennis court.
The majority of schools here don't have tennis teams, and only the chosen few are selected to attend competitive tennis academies. There aren't enough opportunities like this where kids at the grassroots level can take part. Despite dedicated tournament organizers such as George, youth tennis tournaments are still far and in between. But these tournaments are necessary for the sport to grow.
I'd love to be able to see more tournaments because that teaches the kids that they're playing for a goal, for an objective, and they could achieve something. And they learn from their mistakes, and they learn from being able to play with other kids as well.
Aside from the lack of tournaments, there is also a lack of qualified coaches here in China. But in recent years, more and more coaches from abroad have arrived, and that certainly will give tennis a positive boost. A fast-growing economy has made tennis more affordable, and in the future, more and more kids will pick up a racket as a result. Despite the challenges, the future of youth tennis in China remains bright. Reporting for East West Sports on BON, I'm Howard Pan.
Let's welcome Howard into the studio now. Howard, it's great to see these kind of youth tournaments going on in China. Now, how about organized sports for youth in the country? What's going on there?
Aaron, there's a lot of basketball courts and soccer fields all over China, but they're mostly used for pickup games. And there's very few organized tournaments. But these tournaments are necessary for youth sports to grow here. And they're better regulated, better organized, and more serious level of play, and just more of an incentive for kids to get involved in. And they're essential for China if they want to develop more world-class athletes like Liu Xiang and Li Na. But China still have a long way to go before organized sports will go mainstream. But these people are working hard. It's good signs that organizers are taking initiatives.
So having seen this particular youth tennis tournament up close and personal, do you see any future tennis stars for China?
There were a couple 11-year-old girls who were really serious about tennis. Since it was a co-ed tournament, they actually paired up with boys. They ended up beating these boys pretty easily. The score was like 11-2 or 11-3. Perhaps a couple of future Li Nas in the works there.
For the rest of this discussion and more, check out our website at bon.tv/EWS.